This is the Ponderous Brick Thinker with a castle update, and the update is, it's time to work on the terrain. I created this sketch, both color and form, to kind of give me an idea of how I can use plates to help cover this part of the build. And so this is exploratory in terms of what if the rocks that are protruding upward are the grays and the white and black, where the in-betweens are the browns, tans, dark orange, dark red, and see how that looks. And I'm almost okay with it. It is very stark. The white and the black are very pronounced, but if I'm consistent throughout the entire build, it might normalize it so that it's kind of taken for granted that there are stark colors, but it's everywhere, so it's probably okay. We'll see about that, because the first step in terms of determining if this is a good idea is to kind of do more sketches and maybe more or less give me an idea how much I have of these pieces, and if it's realistic to kind of put them here and there around the build so that, you know, I don't have floating platforms in the final design. And let's go from there. I'm thinking of starting here because one of the things about this level, or this base in particular, is that I can't really go down and change the dynamics of going in an upward direction. They're basically one brick taller than the other. I'm probably gonna change this here because there's no, you know, enjoyment of this area. It is possible just to have it like a continuous staircase and just have this as extra, maybe for the plants or something nature related. But let me see how it looks without that being so tall. Okay, so it should be make it taller and have the stairs come out in this direction, because that's fine. And it might be just that much apart rather than two, and they can, because this is probably going to be a larger well, a square. I just need to find the plates to do it. There we go. Okay, so just imagine there's going to be a plate here. You have enough space to go around this, and that looks okay. See, just to line it up, goes about right there. Okay, I might have too many plates there, that's why it's kind of off, but now this is a little bit better in terms of progression. I might just shift that a bit so that it's kind of can go straight, but then it's a castle defensive. You want them zigzag, take a while. That's still okay to leave it later. 'Cause the other thing is, after the terrain, I need to figure out what the final support is. This is pretty sturdy, but it's, if I push down while building, it can topple. So I might have to put some supports here, which is fine. But that's also, you know, what I need to think about for the next step after the terrain. I'm pausing the progress here to kind of show where I'm at in terms of kind of guesstimating where the rocks are going to be. Still have this here. So it kind of makes sense to, well, it also makes it easier to have larger rocks on this one here, because I'm going to need help in terms of filling that part out. But over here, I kind of marked where I would like some rocks, and while it is fewer, just because the size of these are not going to help here, but in terms of building it out, I can use the grays, black, and white here in normal brick mode, indicating that from the rough they carved it out and it's now part of the structure of the visible structure of the castle. And also along here I can use the grays, blacks, and white, and just to kind of speckle, and it might be just, you know, a piece here and there, maybe even smaller than this, either a 1 stud plate or 2 stud plate, kind of indicating that there is something going on over the, I guess I'll call this the browns. All of this collectively the browns. And also, just to point out, this is not a perfect seam. There is some gaps there, if you can see it. I'm not too concerned, considering that this is going to be entirely enclosed. It is going to be dark in there and possibly even black, so that when people see it at a glance, they see this black brick, they see that it's black, they're going to assume that there's a Lego plate or brick behind there, or they just might entirely just pass it by because they see that and they just see the color and not basically what's behind there. So that's my hope, and also just kind of go as close as I can to the bricks. And it's going to be an adjustment. Even though I have these plates here, I do want to say that this is maybe 6 plates deep, so it's 2 bricks, and I can still layer more outward. I'm going to do that after I not completely enclose, but just to put enough rocks around all the bases to kind of indicate where they want or where they should go, but also how many plates do I have left to kind of continue building them out. So they don't have to stop there, they can still, you know, protrude outward. And the other thing is, I did use a slope right here, but I'm thinking of using the slopes and other special shaped bricks of the browns to be used in the castle, and the terrain just use the rough bricks. So that way there can be a distinction that, oh, this used to be a stone, a rough stone, but now it was carved and it's used in the architecture. This is still rough and it can still be you know, just treated as dirt. But the other thing is, maybe I can just hide some of the gaps there, make it look nice, and I can still add some green. However, I think the green will still be more with the castle, kind of indicating that this is a special place where it's rough outside, but in the castle they're taking care of it, so that's where it's green. So that's kind of the thought process so far. And I think, is there anything else as a building? So I'm still okay with this right here. This is going to be more or less the corner of this area here, and I think I'm going to continue going around it, still this kind of guesstimating where the rocks would be, and also kind of pointing out that this color is going to be for the support. I have a lot of this brick color and still it's kind of, it's just a choice. I'm trying to leave this as much as open as possible when it gets to the towers, to kind of suggest that I'll think of a purpose of the tower which will dictate what color it's going to be. And also, since I don't have all the shapes at a certain color, I'm going to have to kind of still kind of be flexible with what colors I'm going to be using on the towers. And you know, I can still use the special shapes of this, the curves and the slopes, somewhere else in the tower. It's just that the 2x4s and 2x2s are going to probably be the main structure underneath the platforms. And that's also to say there might be other colors joining them. I know I don't have a lot of magenta, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be using it in the castle, but still, since I have a limited number, it's probably a color I'm not going to be using as a support. It's something that, you know, I might just have a few 2x4s left over after the support, maybe not at all, but it's still something I need to balance out in terms of what colors do I want to see on the surface. But for now, this is going to be a support. Maybe in a future build it can have a prominent place, much like the 2x12's green plates, and we'll see from there. Now I'm going to just kind of continue. The taller brace is going to need rock all around it. I don't need rock here, but I can, I don't need rock here because that's the refined architecture part. It's going to be bricks. It could be black, white, and the grays, but it's going to be, you know, carved. It's going to be not rough. And again, I can still kind of go here in terms of using the grays, blacks, and white kind of as part of the platform structure, so that I don't have to rely 100% on the browns to fill out the gaps. Okay. Oh, wow, this is barely holding on. Yep, definitely need to work on that. Another note I'd like to make is that I didn't realize while building the ATST that, you know, I was going to use actual plate layering as part of the castle construction. So I'm kind of referring to that, and also the space bus wing. There was some layering there to kind of give, you know, a flat surface some depth. So that's more or less the starting point of where this idea for rocks came from. Now that I have an idea of it might be possible to have rocks in this fashion around the terrain, okay, I'm gonna end the video here and just kind of look at this and see if I have any other ideas. But also probably in the next update I'll finish going around the entire castle with still sketches of the rocks, and then kind of see if I do have enough. And that's the bigger question. And then surround it, or start probably in the next episode with the actual terrain to kind of fill in the gaps and see if that's also still possible, and go from there. So thank you for stopping by. I know it doesn't look like much. I'm still not quite 100% loving it, but I think it's getting there. It's kind of reassuring that this is there. So thank you for stopping by. Hope you learned something. See you next time.